Alright, boys and girls, semi-final time! Here we are, Masters Clash Qualifier number 1, and we are looking at the semi-final with SyDe going up against Kevin! Kevin at the top right. Nur Ossis und Verbrecher nennen ihr Kind Kevin! Alright. There we go. Top right, we have the Night Elf player. Kevin is in, and we are on last Refuge. This is a best of 3 series, and yep, let's check that out. I gotta admit that, again, this is actually a little bit more of a relaxed tournament for a very simple reason. It wasn't really all that well advertised that the tournament was happening today, and therefore just a few players snuck in, which is of course fantastic for the players that realized that the tournament was going on, because it's easy points to make it to the actual event. SyDe being one of them, and here in the semi-final he has to go up against Kevin here. If you're wondering, by the way, what they're talking about now with humans in general and them being nerfed a little bit, apparently Kevin had in the quarterfinal a human opponent that was... well, in Germany we call it beratungsresistent, and kind of refused to acknowledge that he's going to lose the game, despite the fact that the Night Elf was just a little bit stronger than him there. So that game dragged out for a long time, and it ended still up with a victory for the Night Elf, but it took ages, and it was kind of incredible. So we have a Death Knight opening on the Undead side, and for our Night Elf we currently have a Demon Hunter, so it's going to be all about the burn! And I'm not talking about Mr. Sanders here. Nope, we're talking about the mana burn in this case. And an undead hero without mana is always a pretty useless undead hero. It's actually not quite true, because at least when you're talking about the Lich, well equipped, he just shoots away like a machine gun and takes you down regardless, but we'll see if it ever comes to that. Now, once again, a little bit of, well, caveat here, a little bit of housekeeping. The overlay that is kind of new will be updated in the near future, and then we're also going to see, well, first of all, the income and also, well, resources, blah blah blah, supply numbers for both players. For now, I still have to shift around those two a little bit, so apologies for that, but we get good information at least about all of those spells and hero abilities, so that's always a bit of a plus. That's the Refuge being the first map, and we have again the Ancient of War creeping with the Archer, so pretty traditional setup here for Kevin, as he's trying to also now get some additional harass in, I would assume. A little bit more creeping on his side. I mean, there's obviously a couple of ways of how you can play this. If you start creeping your Demon Hunter aggressively in the early game, that you can therefore rely quicker on level 2 mana burn, which is always neat to have. Mana burn in general is great, but in the early game you only get so much out of it. So an early level 2 already for the first hero on the Night Elf side, as he can now cross the map. And down here we have the Death Knight, pretty much doing the same thing, already starting to shop a little bit for the Lich later. I say it again, if you are a Lich, every day is your birthday. The second you pop out of that altar, you just get one present after another. Yeah, Death Knight is already on the run, has the aura on level 1 now, so that's always nice for him. Can rush away a little bit quicker. And for the Death Knight, honestly, at this point, the only thing that you can kind of do is either you use your mana right away, or instead you're just running away from the Demon Hunter as quickly as you can. There's the steal, and nicely done. So, Coil against minions and mercenaries does 100 damage, and therefore he just waits up to an opportunity to get the done. SyDe is able to get both of them, and honestly, from the Night Elf's perspective, that is a little bit of a fail here. So Kevin could have zoned it out, especially after the first coil. He should have known that this is going to happen again if he doesn't move the Demon Hunter a little bit farther to the left and tries to mana burn the Death Knight before he gets the second coil through. But as it happens, SyDe times his attacks well, stays out of range, and gets therefore both creeps. So the job was mostly done by the Night Elf player, and then he came in and just stole that away. Up to the top, we actually have a Tree of Life that was put in, and oh my god, this is a disaster. Yeah, that's a cancel. Ah, well, is it? I mean, yeah, it's gonna be. Demon Hunter is on the way, but now that he sees that there's actually a Tree of Life, instead of creeping the spot and stealing the creeps and the experience away from the Night Elf player, he's like, wait a second, free cancel? Hell yeah, baby, I'm gonna go for that. So that Tree of Life is more or less doomed, and yep, there's the Wisp, and immediately gets detonated too. That's a bit of experience. Nice body block at least, against the Death Knight, and he is already fairly low. On the experience side, the Demon Hunter is doing better. And down to the bottom of the map, there's still a bit of scouting going on with the Wand of Illusion. In the main base, of course, there's the Tree of Life upgrade into the Tree of Ages. And in the main base of the Undead player, the tech into the Halls of the Dead has now been completed. And with that, we have, in terms of items, now another rod already bought. And of course, the question is now just when exactly are we going to see the Lich and what's going to happen around the Black Citadel? What's going to be the timing for those? Of course, on the Night Elf side, there's our answer, by the way. Quick tech also. Second hero. Ursula! Ursula is back and slithers her way to victory. So it seems like he wants to be aggressive and put on some pressure. No Lich in this game. But with Ursula as a setup, you can be a lot more aggressive around all of this. As a detonate on another Wisp, so that's a few already lost. Of course, there's still the expansion attempt up to the top left. This time the Trio of Life is not going to get cancelled. And we have a Moonwell placed right next to it too. But the attack is in! And all of those Wisps are now in trouble. And if you take those Wisps down, not even healed by the Moonwell, by the way. Ursula on both sides now, or at least Nagas. But this now means that we are starting to look at a Night Elf player who is going to run eventually into a bit of lumber trouble, which could always be a big problem here. So, yeah, there's the Demon Hunter. By now level 3, so Mana Burn is on level 2. And there's the burn right there. Naga actually with a bit of body blocking. None of the Nagas, by the way, has Boots of Speed. So that might be something that one of the players is going to pick up later if they feel they have better position on the map and can chase a little bit harder, but right now we don't have that. There's one mana burn after another from Kevin, as the Night Elf just says, well, you're not gonna coil anything this game, I can promise you that much. There's still body blocking happening, and with that, the Death Knight is able to save the Fiend after all. He doesn't give a shit about the Ghoul though, so just lets it die. That just feels a little bit bad. Ghouls are units too! Ghoul life matters. Anyways, attacked at the top, and I don't really think he's going to get a cancel out of this, but that's of course a lot of damage against the right now unarmored structure. Staff of Teleportation gets used, and there we go. The Demon Hunter is in, and the Naga is gonna be in trouble. Honestly, the Naga is dead. Wow. The Naga on the other side actually doesn't connect. He tries to also... Unbelievable. He tried to body block with the Archer and couldn't get the Archer in front of the Naga. And his own Naga, Lady Serpentra, was not able to get a single Frost Shot connected. And, well, therefore, the Naga actually survives. I honestly thought the thing was dead. I mean, it looked pretty much like there was no way. Yep, quick attack over here, and that's another Ghoul down. By now, in terms of experience, we have level 3.5 for the Demon Hunter and 1.4 for the Naga. Now, the items are a little bit better on the Undead side. By now, we have the second clause of attack, which will very likely pass over to the Naga as well. So that thing is going to start hitting hard. A bit of a bait down here with the creeps, trying to get that Ogre Mauler taken down first. But the Night Elf player is also creeping. So, of course, in the main base, we have by now the Tree of Ages upgraded into the Tree of Eternity. With a nearly completed tech and also his expansion up and running, the Night Elf wants to buy a bit of time to get the tech through and also capitalize on the double income. Whereas SyDe obviously has different plans here, trying to rock this with a hero advantage and also his own tech. Yeah, Kevin with a level 2 Naga now. Decent items here as well. Down here, Naga still on half a level. And here's a bit of a body block happening against the Death Knight, who gets a coil out actually, just as we're seeing another mana burn being imminent. So uses the mana as quickly as he can. But in terms of supply, SyDe is now sitting at 39, Kevin is at 41, and keep that base in mind. Yeah, Demon Hunter. Good damage this time against the Death Knight, but there's the Lich and there's the Nova. Not sure if he can get the kill right there. There's obviously still the creeps to be fought over. The Naga thanks the efforts with a quick upgrade into level 2. Skeletons are still starting to chase this, but of course now the Ogre Mauler is down. Time to say goodbye, my friend. Kevin's still on 42 supply, but with the Demon Hunter on 170 HP, he needs to make sure that he doesn't take any more there. And that's a creep check that he is going to have a problem with. The Undead coming in right now and dropping a Nova and a few more slows into that Archer line is going to absolutely murder them. There's ghouls at the front too. This is a disaster right now. Yeah, Demon Hunter already with the potion of lesser invulnerability, but Archer after Archer is falling. There's another Nova, and therefore the slow is in play. And he's even making the play now for the Demon Hunter. That's a town portal or a kill. You can decide whatever you want here, but it's gonna happen. Another Archer is down. and the creeps are up for grabs. SyDe with a really good setup here now. Still a little bit behind in supply, 44 against 48. Doesn't, of course, have that second base yet, but he is expanding. Has just started the Haunted Gold Mine down at the bottom of them. So, towards the top. Oh, let's see. There's a little bit of creep action going on still from the Night Elf player. Wants to, of course, to have the Demon Hunter on level 4. Naga is not really close enough to level 3 just yet. Yeah, another archer. Guys, these archers are falling like flies. There's a coil, there's a kill, bam, and the entire time the Fiends are now rattling through too. We have at the front also Abominations now. The triple hero, of course, is doing a lot of work here as well. Quick detonate, but it doesn't really matter because that Death Knight doesn't have mana anyways. And this is starting to become nasty. The Ancient of Wonders is getting pressure too, and there is mad amounts of pressure right now. But he can't save that Lich. He has the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Now we have 3 heroes against 3 as the Priestess of the Moon is in play. But the Lich is now on level 2, has that Orb of Corruption, of course, and the statues are working overtime to try and keep the entire army alive. And with the shop falling, that's another big blow to the Night Elf player. No shop at that expansion is definitely limiting his option a bit. Another archer is toast already, and this is starting to get rough. He's relying on triple hero and tier 1 units, and that just doesn't hold a candle to what we're seeing from SyDe. SyDe has way too much now. And let's not forget that that Naga is also doing some serious work in terms of damage. We're looking at plus 15 damage now. And Kevin is having problems. Kevin is getting body blocked. Yeah, that Abomination is a little bit too fat, my friend. And the Demon Hunter is down. Who says that the Abom should do a little bit more cardio? Nope, slimming down has negative effects too. Can't body block as well. So now we have more units fall, and there's the GG as SyDe picks up the victory in game number 1 against Kevin here at the semi-final best of 3 series of the Masters Clash Qualifier number 1. Game number 2, Echo Isles is the map. SyDe in the lead against Kevin the Undead on the way to the grand final. Unless the German player has a chance to take him down here. So, of course, starting a little bit farther down again, Moonwell, Altar of Elders first. We're going to see no third place match. Actually, it's not quite true. There is a third place decider in this tournament. Yeah, we're most likely going to see the Ancient of War again forward towards one of the camps in order to start the archer creep. But on the right side of the map, our undead player now with the Krypton play, also going straight in for the Altar of Darkness. But yep, here we are. Ancient of War, a bit of an aggressive setup also as well, as we're going to see them head straight in for the mercenary camp to try and creep that open. Obviously, there's also a couple of really nice creeps that you can get there, that you can get for yourself. And, well, let's have a bit of a look over here. SyDe is already starting to scout all of this out. Position of the Ancient of War is actually going to be really important for him, because it depends a little bit on how greedy the Night Elf is going to get here, if he wants to go for aggression by himself with the Death Knight, or if instead we're going to see him just trying to get an additional level up here. So Death Knight again, and the Warden on the other side. And a high level Warden is of course pretty nasty. So that one is always kind of nice. Warden, a frequent source of complaints too. By the way, I kind of find these portraits of wisps weird. Like, I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but seeing that and just like this completely... Yeah, I don't know. It just looks strange. There's a floating head, and the unit in no way resembles a floating head. Like, that portrait, I'm not on board with it. I think something else would have been just way better there. It's just awkward. It's just really, really awkward. It's like, oh, mom, there's a floating head there. Wait, what? So, yeah. Okay, so Ancient of War is in. Archer is already on the way. Warden is, of course, going to come through in just a moment. We already have the... both of the first heroes in play, and the Acolyte scouted all of this out, which means that now we're looking at the Death Knight rushing over towards the left in order to see what can be stolen away here. Maybe harass enough to put some serious problems onto the Night Elf. That one is already down. Don't tell me he got the experience for that. Of course he did! The Acolyte killed the Wisp and got the XP for it too. Oh my god. Perfect, guys. If he kills the Ancient of War, Ghoul is coming in as well. This is going to be a nightmare for Kevin. Oh my god, he actually takes it down. Ancient of War eliminated. Yeah, he's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble. The Warden comes in and is attempting to put the pressure onto the Death Knight, but that is an absolute disaster. And our hero Acolyte that killed the Wisp earlier is now making its way into the main base. You know why? Because he wants to kill more. He has tasted blood and he needs more. More kills more. Okay. Death Knight now moving into the main base too. It means that we could actually see, yep, exactly that. A coil attempt on the Wisp, but nicely denied by a Moonwell that gets built. Doesn't even have to get cancelled. Yeah, he needs one. But I still can't believe that he took down that Ancient of War. It's being rebuilt right now, but as you can imagine, this is not really the best start for our Night Elf by any means. You look at the Warden, she doesn't have an extra item. That entire creep didn't really work out as intended anyways. So now with also more skeletons being spawned and the Warden getting body blocked, the Death Knight gets away scot-free. Yeah, that's a dream. That's an absolute dream for SyDe. In this case, Necropolis is upgraded, halfway done with the tech. I mean, honestly, try and paint a better scenario for the Undead. Hunter's Hall gets now produced, but where does the Night Elf go from here? You're in a pretty tricky spot to begin with, and obviously the second attempt at the creep is already scouted out too. Yeah, steals a few of the items away, or sorry, not items, but of course the units. Forest Troll Shadow Priest and Forest Troll Berserker get both bought. Also gets the unit count up a little bit, which helps first of all with creeping, but also if there's any kind of undead aggression, if there was some kind of cheese happening right now, you would at least have some units in play. And up to the top, yeah, there we have it. There's already SyDe sitting tight. We currently have the Ring of Protection as the first item in. Level 2 should be pretty easy for him to grab as well. Down to the bottom of the map. Yes, you guessed it, a Tree of Life. I mean, Echo Isles, you want to get the expansion here. Both of the heroes nearly on level 2. Well, one of them is already. The Warden has hit level 2. We still have only the Shadow Strike taken, but, well, there's still more scouting happening.
A player's forces are under attack.
The tech is, of course, nearly completed for SyDe. Necropolis tech is nearly there. And over on the left side, still tier 1. So nothing has really changed there. I mean, obviously, with him losing an Ancient of War, still having to rebuild one, now also trying to get his expansion up. That was more or less necessary. Yep, level 2 for the Death Knight. And over here, if he can steal that away, that would be great. That Acolyte is already at the front. And guys, the Warden is a little bit low too. The Warden is really low. Holy cow, dude, you gotta be careful. If there's a couple of death coils and the coil actually steals it away, he steals everything. He steals the experience, takes the creep down with it, and he gets the Wand of Mana stealing. That's... yeah, that's a disaster for him. For Kevin. Yeah, there was a bit more of a creep happening on the right side as we saw the Fiends go for the camp solo, and that's an additional book, and he's going to work on level 3 now, moving down to the expansion and creeping that free. Night Elf player is going to have to take down the creeps at the gold mine in just a second as well. It's already where he's headed, and we have him with hunts. In case that anybody was asking how hunts are doing, generally speaking, against fiends, poorly is probably the best word to describe it. Depends a lot on the numbers, of course. It's pretty much a numbers game, but the armor type doesn't really do well against fiends. So, yeah, that's going to be a problem, considering that we already have 2 fiends in play for SyDe here. The Lich is also in, so that makes things even harder, especially since with the Unholy Aura, there is already the possibility of kiting through the Undead himself. And then on top of that, by the way, 2 skulls actually. Sacrificial skulls, 2 of them. And yep, that will be more a little bit hot. Okay, there's the coil, there's the Nova, and goodbye hunt. 1 hunt down, level 3 Death Knight, and off to the races we go. There's another quick coil, that's the Forest Troll. Shadow Priest down. Yeah, that is spelling trouble now. And he can just murder those hunts. Of course, the Lich is kept alive with the Death Coil. Yeah, Burrow is being used now too. And the Forest Troll Berserker is dead. SyDe at 33 supply against 32 for Kevin. Yeah, the coil keeps the Lich in play. Hunts are dying. Hunts are screaming. Warden is having trouble too. Can pass the town portal over if need be, but he still has a coil ready. And with additional mana on the Death Knight, he might actually be able to even get another one through if it ever comes to another round. He needs, of course, 25 more in order to make that work. But yep, there's the attack. Needs to keep that a little bit far. Does have the mana soon, TM, especially of course with now also a statue being in play. But SyDe is on 36 supply, and Kevin has fallen down to 33. He's still trying to chase all of this, but it is really tricky. There's an expansion at least, but of course the gold mine is currently getting entangled, so there's no income yet. In the main base, let's have a quick look at the tech and the progress on it. The Tree of Life nearly upgraded into the Tree of Ages, but in the undead base, we by now have the second hero at the shop. Still those 2 sacrificial skulls, so hasn't really done a lot with them yet. But he goes for the aggression against the Ancient of War. That one got cancelled. There's the detonate again. That's another wisp down though. So it's also going to delay any potential income that he could have from this base. What he's going to get later. There's another detonate, and yeah, at least he gets the rest of the wisps in. So that's currently 5 wisps, and the mining starts. With the Lich now moving down to the bottom, it seems like we're going to see that counter expansion. Sacrificial Skull hasn't been used earlier, but there's the first one. Still has a second one that he can either use in a fight later. Even spread that a bit more. But SyDe is at 39 supply. And, well, with the Warden on level 3, we have the Night Elf player now also on 39. Now, the one thing to keep in mind here with the Fan of Knives on level 2 is, of course, that there's a lot of AoE damage that he can push through now. And with him heavily investing in hunts, that also means that he has a very strong early game army. But there's already an Necropolis and Ziggurats being built, and once they upgrade into Spirit Towers, those hunts are not going to do a whole lot of the expansion. So that's the next thing here. With this, we currently have still the attempt to get those heroes at a little bit higher level. With the expansion now building, it also means that the tech is a bit further delayed into the Black Citadel, so we don't have anything on that end yet. That SyDe is sitting tight as the Night Elf player is sniffing all of this out and is starting to attack it. But there's an immediate Nova, and the first hunt is about to fall. There's a Scholar on the other hand, so a little bit of a save. But first tower gets upgraded into Nerubian. Hans, still Frost Armor in play on the level 2 Lich now, so that's going to make this play a little bit easier. Starting to attack the Huns one after another, and so far the Fiends haven't really fallen yet either, so that keeps the units on the side of SyDe alive. But with a bit of body blocking, another Hunt is going to fall in a second, and that's exactly the case. Their statues, of course, in a perfect position here as the entire fight just centers around them, and this base is not going to fall. Nope, there's another Hunt that is going to fall likely. One more hit. Yes, there we have it. SyDe on 42 supply, and Kevin is on 33. The attempt to go for the base again, if he tries to go for it, he's not going to make it. And on the left side now, we have a bit of scouting going on, but that Ancient of Wonders isn't quite completed yet. Over here, Tree of Life could be next target, but of course there's also the one central shop on the map that they're going for now, and that is another Scroll of Healing that we currently have in play. Dark Ranger is being built. Let's see if that's going to be the saving grace for him, because the hopes and dreams were of course to try and play a little bit more around the Fan of Knives, but with the Scroll of Healing in the inventory of the Death Knight, he can mitigate a lot of that AoE damage very quickly. Silence, then again, on the Dark Ranger would in theory really help to maybe get the kill on the Lich if the Death Knight is silenced at the perfect moment in time. Dryads are joining the fun for the slows amongst other things, but of course also unarmored, and the first Dryad is immediately down. There's not really a lot of Fiends left though, but the heroes are doing fantastic work with the double statues supporting them now. One Hunt about to fall, one gets staffed away, this one is definitely going to die, and another attempt. There's the level 4 on the the Warden though. And losing a bit more. Another Fiend goes down, so finally SyDe is losing a little bit of ground here too. Surround, nice, against the Obsidian statue. Kevin is ahead in army supply now. So he has had that base, of course, for a little bit longer, and therefore he has more units that he can push through. In the main base, we still have him on tier 2 as well. And the problem for him is that this base down here is now mining. The last Acolyte is currently getting produced. Spirit Tower and Nerubian Tower, it's going to make attacks into the base extremely dangerous, if not impossible. There's also 2 more relics now being built. There's still a couple of camps on the map that could be taken, which is where players are now headed. And in the main base, the tech into the Black Citadel is right now nearly done. And for the Night Elf player, it will be pretty difficult to break through all of this. He has a potion of lesser invulnerability in the inventory of the Warden. And what's even actually more important is that he also has a mana potion. So that's fantastic if he can get that Fan of Knife connected properly. Yeah, it's already a bit here. There's a silence on the Death Knight too. No coil for a short moment in time, but the Fiend doesn't fall. Fiends have 0 upgrades right now, whereas the Hunts are also sitting at 0-0. And he's still speccing on Hunts and Dryads, but as the game continues, this is going to be tough. Especially once that we have third heroes coming in as well. That Lich also is nearly on level 3, so that's going to make these Coil Nova attempts a lot easier. And that shouldn't really take too long. Alright, also, in addition to that, Meat Wagons! Siege damage against unarmored units. Always fun.
Forces are under attack.
And that's a lot of unarmored units right there. Yeah. Oh, Coil Nova attempt and the staff. Damn. That was good timing. Nicely played. That Nightcrawler, though, is going to die. He gets actually taken down by the Meat Wagon. That's actually experience for SyDe in this case. That's incredible. Okay, one Hunt is down. That's level 4 for the Death Knight. Level 3 for the Lich any second now. And the Fiend is still alive. That Frost Armor is definitely working out for him. And since we still have Meat Wagons and a few Fiends with piercing damage left, those units that we see for the Night Elf are starting to have some serious trouble. I mean, just look at the hit points here. They're just falling as we speak. That's where the Scroll of Healing, of course, comes into play. But we still have enough mana for another combo also on the Undead side. Steals the Tomb away. Okay, so far so good. One Feet might fall. Gets saved by the Coil. In terms of supply, we have 59 against 66. And there's the level 3 for the Lich. And he has the mana also, of course, now to get another Nova through. That hits right away. And that should be the end of at least one more Huntress. Yep. Piercing damage connects, and another one is going to likely fall too. Yes, just barely, but it does. And now, all of a sudden, the tides are turning. The Night Elf is in trouble, and he might still have a lot of gold, but at the same time, he dropped down to 51 supply. Actually, need to no upkeep now, even. So, yeah, that attack is not going well. There's owls in every tree, or at least that's what it seems like. But it is starting to become painfully obvious that this army composition is not going to work out in the long run for the Night Elf. I mean, it's also not really a setup where he's trying to play this throughout the entire game. We have by now the Tree of Ages upgraded into Tree of Eternity, so that's going to allow him, of course, to go into tier 3 units here. Saved a couple of Hunts, as you could see. But over here, we have now Abominations being built. We also have the Destroyer form upgraded. Bam! Temple of the Damned is now getting produced too, so he's summoning that as well. It's all about the Warden at this point. I mean, we have on level 4.5. If she can get more work done later on, that would be fantastic. But we have the third hero in, Crypt Lord for the stun. Yep, and there's the first one. And we have Mountain Giants in. A lot of upgrades in those. Coil Nova! Oh, and the Staff of Preservation. Yeah, that one was important. That Warden is not allowed to die. She still had a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, and she had also a Town Portal. Shouldn't really have led to the kill there one way or another. Bottom left, that's where we still have our expansion for the Night Elf. Currently still looking at double heroes, not adding a third one yet. Damn, it's like 1 hit point on all of these. Yep, poison makes that happen. So that's nasty. These units are going to fall in seconds. So look at the Death Knight, by the way. Sitting at 6.6 additional armor, and in addition to that, a Ring of Regeneration. The Death Knight is pretty much unkillable if he's able to walk away at any point. Just buy him a bit of time, put that aura on level 2 to some good use, and buy him some time to regenerate. It's going to be incredibly difficult for Kevin to break through that defense. And there's now also a Tomb of Strength +2, that means more hit points. And of course the Night Elf is also attempting now to get at least that Warden onto level 5. That would be fantastic. But yeah, the entire game has started to flip. With first of all those Meat Wagons being built initially to get some damage in against the unarmored units. Now it can also be used against the structures. And as long as you shut down the mining on your opponent's side, you will eventually end up with way more units. Kevin is at 69 supply, SyDe is at 73, but the Haunted Gold Mine is down, which means no mining from this base. Can have an Orb or Venom in your inventory on the Dark Ranger all day long. That's not going to really matter to this. And as long as that Siege position is still there, it's going to be a nightmare. Now he can start to work on the Tree of Life. And again, as long as he's not mining, it's a win for the Undead player. He's in that choke point. Look at that position. There's the 2 air-bombs right at the front. He has everything else in the back. And it's going to be incredibly difficult. Look at that range, by the way. Yep, Siege units, baby. Has to move away with this. And the second he uproots it, the focus fire is there. That thing is dead. He didn't even try to walk it away. Yeah, now it's a cleanup job on the natural. So time is at this point working in the undead player's favor. 2 attack upgrades on the fiends, 1 attack upgrade on the abominations. If we're looking over towards the Night Elf, 0 upgrades, but here's that little nasty surprise for his opponent. We have a double Chimera Roost, and yeah, time to shine. So big boys in the skies now, trying to get the kill in. Look at that supply block, by the way, 80 to 50. Yep, do those fiends have web? That's the big question right now. I can tell you one thing though, they are definitely murdering the opponent. Also, talking about survivability, he actually put those items now over to the Crypt Lord. 3rd hero is going to be a little bit tougher to take down. Level 1 heroes obviously don't really have that big of a hit point pool.
Forces are under attack.
And I think he has actually realized what's going on. I mean, if need be, yeah, there it goes. He has the web, and now there's a focus fire. First one down, upgrade on the Lich on level 4. He snipes them, easy peasy. Kevin is going to fall quickly. Kevin is down to 50 supply at this point, guys. It's incredible. There's a level 5 for the Death Knight. I mean, it gets worse. Level 2, nearly level 3 for the Crypt Lord. Insane amounts of experience now. And he's just going through the Night Elf army like hot butter through cheese. It's incredible. And here we go. We're so strong in the campaign. I guess he has a point. In this case, though, it didn't quite tilt the game in his favor. So now we have a 2-0 victory for SyDe as he moves into the grand final of the Masters Clash Qualifier #1. GG and well played.